Ethiopia and Eritrea. The summer war is here. The Horn of Africa is on fire again. And this time, the smoke is rising from the old trenches between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Forget what you thought you knew. This isn't just a border dispute. It's a layered war fueled by betrayal, rogue alliances, and a ticking geopolitical time bomb. A TPLF faction dancing with Eritrea, Tigray splitting at the seams, Asmara and Addis talking peace but marching troops. This summer could explode, and nobody's safe from the fallout. Welcome back to Semonigna Spotlight, your front row seat to the Horn's harshest realities and deepest secrets. Tonight we bring you an exclusive breakdown of the unfolding crisis between Ethiopia and Eritrea, a confrontation brewing with every passing storm cloud of the rainy season. From Ethiopia's explosive diplomatic letter to Eritrea's quiet but deadly military mobilization, from Tigray's internal rebellion to whispers of an unholy alliance between Asmara and a rogue TPLF faction. This isn't just state versus a state. It's a war within a war, with multiple fault lines, multiple actors, and a real risk of regional collapse. So buckle up, because what's happening in the Horn right now could reshape East Africa as we know it. Let's dive in. A diplomatic firestorm. On June 20th, 2025, Ethiopia's Foreign Minister, Gideon Timotheos, unleashed a diplomatic bombshell in a letter to U.S. Secretary of State Marco A. Rubio. He accused Eritrea of plotting a major offensive with a dissident TPLF faction and armed groups during the rainy season, warning of a direct threat to regional stability. Gideon called out Eritrea's repeated provocations and territorial occupation, labeling them a flagrant violation of international law. Ethiopia's grievances trace back to the 2018 Jeddah peace agreement, which promised reconciliation but crumbled after the 2022 Pretoria Agreement ended the Tigray War. Gideon claims Eritrea is now exploiting Tigray's divisions to weaken Ethiopia, a charge that has set alarm bells ringing. Ethiopia's tone is unyielding. While calling for dialogue, Gideon asserted the country's inherent right to defend itself. In a July 3rd parliamentary address, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed emphasized peaceful pursuit of sea access, but flexed Ethiopia's military muscle, boasting a modern army and robust economy. The message is clear: Ethiopia is ready to fight if pushed. Gideon urged the U.S. and global community to pressure Eritrea to respect Ethiopia's sovereignty, warning of a looming disaster unless Asmara backs down. Eritrea's military buildup. A ticking time bomb. Eritrea isn't sitting still. Reports of military mobilization are sending shockwaves across the border. Claims Eritrean troops have seized 3 Tigray towns, though Asmara denies this, dismissing Ethiopia's accusations as a preposterous lie to justify aggression over Red Sea ports. Yet signs point to escalation. Since February, Eritrea has reportedly called up reserves, restricted travel, and fortified border positions, signaling war preparations. Its June 26 statement accused Ethiopia of a long-brewing war agenda and a weapons purchasing spree, framing Addis Ababa as the aggressor. Eritrea's role in the 2022 Tigray War, where its forces fought alongside Ethiopia and faced war crime allegations, adds fuel to the fire. A June 2025 report by The Sentry detailed Eritrea's industrial-scale looting and pre-war planning, with its exclusion from Pretoria peace talks fueling resentment. Eritrea's continued presence in Tigray, despite the war's end, has heightened tensions, making its military buildup a powder keg waiting to ignite. TPLF's rogue faction? An unholy alliance? The TPLF, once Ethiopia's political titan, is now a fractured force at the heart of this crisis. Tigray, scarred by a war that killed hundreds of thousands, faces internal strife between Debretsion Gebremichael's TPLF faction and the federally backed Tigray Interim Administration under Ethio-Eritrea. Ethiopia accuses Debretzion's group of colluding with Eritrea to destabilize the region, a claim echoed by Getachew since last year. Debretzion's faction has seized towns like Adigrat, and his June 22nd call for people-to-people ties with Eritrea has raised suspicions of an alliance with Asmara, a shocking twist given their historical enmity. This alleged TPLF-Eritrea nexus is a game-changer. Ethiopia fears a coordinated offensive exploiting Tigray's chaos, with Eritrea using the TPLF as a proxy to weaken its neighbor. The prospect of a former foe aligning with Eritrea adds betrayal to an already volatile mix, threatening to plunge Tigray into deeper turmoil. The war within, TPLF splinters, and recent clashes, Tigray's internal divisions have birthed a new player, the Freeland Fighters, a dissident group splintered from Tigray's forces. On June 24th, a clash erupted in Wajirat Senal area, where Tigray forces fired heavy weaponry at these fighters after their incursion from afar. Locals, gripped by fear, reported no casualties, thanks to mediation by elders like Shambo Gebre Abraha. The Freeland Fighters, led by figures like Lieutenant General Gebrez Gabiher Bayane, aimed to overthrow TPLF dominance and build an independent military force. Their presence across Tigray signals a growing challenge to both the TPLF and TIA, creating a war within a war that amplifies the region's instability. This internal conflict, with Tigrayans fighting Tigrayans, offers Eritrea a chance to exploit divisions. The Freeland Fighters' organized structure and bold moves suggest they could become a significant force, further complicating the region's fault lines. The Summer War. What could it look like as the rainy season looms, a time when military campaigns thrive due to logistical challenges? A full-scale war could be catastrophic. It might unfold across multiple fronts: the Ethiopia-Eritrea border, where Eritrean troops linger; Tigray, where TPLF factions and dissidents clash; in disputed areas like Welkate, contested by Amhara and Tigrayan forces. Ethiopia's modernized army, bolstered by recent arms deals, faces Eritrea's disciplined forces and Tigray's fractured militias, potentially drawing in external powers like Gulf states amid the Israel-Iran conflict. The humanitarian cost would be devastating. The Tigray war left millions displaced and in famine-like conditions. A new conflict could push aid systems to collapse, with Sudan and Somalia already straining resources. Eritrea's potential arming of TPLF dissidents and Ethiopia's sea access ambitions add geopolitical stakes, risking a regional inferno. Tigray's civilians, caught in the crossfire, face renewed horrors with little hope of global intervention. A region on the brink, the Horn of Africa stands at a breaking point. Ethiopia's accusations, Eritrea's defiance, and Tigray's internal fractures paint a chilling picture. The war within a war in Tigray, between TPLF factions and their own rebels, threatens to spill over, fueled by Eritrea's alleged meddling and Ethiopia's resolve to protect its sovereignty. Abiy's peace rhetoric clashes with military posturing, while Eritrea's mobilization signals readiness for battle. The international community, particularly the US, must act swiftly to avert disaster, but global distractions may leave the region to fend for itself. For now, Tigray's people, like those in Zalambesa, who briefly embraced Eritrean neighbors, cling to fading hopes of peace. But with armies mobilizing and accusations flying, the summer war could shatter these dreams, leaving devastation in its wake. Stay tuned to Semonigna Spotlight as we bring you the raw truth from the Horn's front lines. Waygud fan, until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon. That's it for this explosive edition of Semonigna Spotlight. The Horn of Africa is on edge, and we're here to keep you locked in on every twist and turn. Will Ethiopia and Eritrea clash, or can diplomacy pull the region back from the brink? Share your thoughts and don't miss our next dive into the stories that matter. Waygud fan, stay sharp, stay woke, and we'll see you soon.